Yeah. Tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like this channel, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and of course that means you'll be first to know when we drop a new blog, when we drop a new little topic or anything. So right now we're in fight week. It's finally upon us. It has come upon us very, very quickly, and that is the fight week for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world, 4 belts on the line between Vasilly, the Matrix, Lomachenko, and Teofimo, Lopez. So this is a major big deal for, you know, boxing fans all around the world. This is for all the marbles. This is for all the belts at lightweight. And right now what I'm going to be doing in this video is giving you my breakdown of what's going to happen, and sort of my breakdown in terms of a prediction. You know, I'm going to give you my pick for this fight, and you know who I think is going to win, and you know, some of the reason why I think that fighter is going to win. So stay tuned with me, bear with me as we go through this video. So first thing to note is that these two combatants, these two fighters have had a similar, well, they've had exactly the same amount of fights. I think they've both had 15 fights each, but we know that Lopez is very much the prospect of the two fighters, whereas Lomachenko, he has been brought along very differently. I can remember from the time when he turned pro. I remember seeing him in the Olympic Games and hearing about him turning pro. And these guys, Lomachenko, his team, his family, his dad, they wanted to chuck him in for a world title in his first fight or something ridiculous like that. And I knew from then that at the very least, these guys are serious. I knew they were great amateur, he was a great amateur boxer, but he's a guy that has been literally won in a world title from, I think, his first fight or something like that, got the world title fight and won it in his third fight, and he has been operating at world level from the very inception of his professional career. So the way he's been moved has been radically different from any, you know, prospect or any other guy, you know, whereas Lopez has been brought along the more conventional way. Lopez has had a steady progression of fights, getting gradually more difficult as his career goes on. Lopez is the younger man. He's the, you could argue, maybe the fresher man. He hasn't had anywhere near the hard fights that Lomachenko has had. He's a fresher man. And I would also say that of the two of them, Lopez, Teofimo, he looks to be sort of the natural puncher of the two. He seems to be more the one-punch KO artist of the two guys, although I suppose you compare the competition which each man has fought, you know, you could definitely Lomachenko's competition is superior, but of the two, you know, in terms of explosive one-punch power, I would say that has to sort of go to Lopez, whereas Lomachenko more sets you up and sets traps and then throws a mixture of punches, soft punches, then lines it up and hits you with something hard. You know, Lopez has been brought along by his father, who is, you know, has an unshakable faith in him. You know, Lopez Sr. really believes in his son. You know, he's got this faith in him, so I believe that is going to help to bolster Lopez along. The fact that he's got a coach, he's got his dad, his flesh and blood, believes in him, and he believes that he will go on to win this fight. For Lopez, he hasn't had to face much adversity in his career so far until 2 fights ago when he fought the I believe it's a Japanese fighter called Nakatani, where he had to go the distance with this guy Nakatani for only the second time in his career. He went the 6-round distance earlier on in his career, but against this guy Nakatani, you know, he had a hard time of it. He had to work very hard to get the decision. He didn't look great in that fight, but I think ultimately that fight, and it being a hard fight, would be for his betterment. That fight, what he would have learned in that fight will stand him in good stead going into this fight, because at least he's had to face that little bit of adversity. He also had the Comey win where he knocked out the Ghanaian, very easy, very early in the fight. That wasn't much of a test. On paper, that was a test, but because Lopez blew him away, knocked him out, it turned out in actuality to not be much of a test, because he just landed that knockout blow. For Lomachenko, his background, he was raised to be a champion. He was raised to be a winner, world champion, Olympian and everything from his birth. From my understanding of his background, his father invested so much time into him. His father decided he was going to be a champion from day one. If you know Lomachenko's story, then you will know that his dad went as far as to invest in Ukrainian dancing lessons, and he made Lomachenko do Ukrainian dancing lessons for several years. I think it was a period of about 5 years, until he was about 13 years old, and then he let him go back into boxing, and that such is his vision for his son. So he, Papachenko, Anatoly Lomachenko, who's Lomachenko's father, he's got unorthodox training techniques, and he spent years and years and years making Lomachenko dance, and now as a professional, Lomachenko has this unique set of skills, unique footwork and everything, and he comes at you from very unorthodox angles. Lomachenko, through that training, through that schooling from childhood till now, and these unorthodox techniques that they do, he's shown a great deal of versatility in his career. He's got fantastic movement. He's able to be right in front of you in punching range, and he still will make you miss. That's the type of counterpuncher he is. He's able to trick his opponents. He's able to attack, as I've said, from strange angles, unorthodox angles that his opponents don't expect. And he's won a lot of fights by doing that, by being right there. But when you try and hit him, he's gone to the side, or he's gone to the left, he's gone to the right. He's one of those fighters that is rightly called the Matrix, and he's honed those skills over the years, and he's been able to so successfully confuse nearly all of his opponents. In most of his fights, his opponents are confused. They don't know what angle he's going to come from next, and he's that type of guy. And the fact with Lomachenko is that we know about him that he has been down in fights, he has been knocked down, he has been hurt in fights, but we've learned through the knockdowns that he's had, for example, against Linares and others, there haven't been that many of them, but what we learned from Lomachenko being knocked down and being hurt is that he can sometimes make mistakes. He's not the perfect fighter, but with him, the key is that he very rarely repeats his mistakes. When Lomachenko makes mistakes, he tends to adapt in the ring, in the action, and he tends to not repeat those mistakes again. So the mistake he made against Linares, getting caught with the right hand, if you watch that fight, he tends to learn from it, get on his bicycle, and then he doesn't make that mistake again. He whacks, he hurts them. I think he stopped Linares with a body shot, but with his mistakes, he tends to learn from them and come back better and adapt and adjust in the fight, in the action while it's going on. Lomachenko, he's the fastest in history, from what I understand, fastest man to become a free weight world champion. So that's another thing to add to his profile there, fastest to become a free weight world champion. And also, by winning a world title in just his third fight, he's one of the fastest boxers in history to win a world title. That's another major thing with Lomachenko. He's very unusual. And for this fight, we have to take into consideration as well that it's the longest layoff of either fighter's career. So for Lopez, I believe he's been off for at least 9.5 to 10 months by the time this fight comes up. And Lomachenko, he's been off even longer. Lomachenko has not fought in 1 year and 48 days. In terms of, when we get to this fight on Saturday, it will have been 1 year and 48 days since we last saw Lomachenko fight. And Lomachenko, when he was asked in a press conference about, you know, how is this layoff going to affect you? You know, is it, you know, are you going to be able to perform with this long layoff? It's the longest layoff of your career. And Lomachenko very calmly said, well, we find out Saturday. Saturday we find out. I don't know how it affects me. Saturday you see, Saturday you find out. And, you know, Lopez also very calm on the stage in a press conference. You know, he said that, look, although I haven't fought in nearly a year, I've stayed in shape. I'm a big lightweight, so I have to make an extra effort to stay in shape. So both men were very calm, very confident about the layoff, that it wasn't going to bother them at all. So this is also a significant thing about this fight, is that, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is for the undisputed lightweight title. This is for all 4 belts. In the press conference they had all 4 belts: WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, all 4 of the titles, all the major sanctioning body belts. They're all on the line for this fight. And according to what the analyst Joe Tessitore was saying, this is like a first for all 4 belts in history. This is the first time that this has happened. I'd have to fact check that before I believe that 100%, but that's according to what he said. This is the first time that we've seen the undisputed lightweight title, all 4 belts on the line. And undoubtedly, with that being the case, whoever goes on to win this fight can rightly claim to be the man at lightweight. For me, I still kind of have Lomachenko at number 1 at lightweight, but I think if he wins, if he picks up the IBF off of Teofimo Lopez, that will just solidify his spot even more. And in terms of my prediction, you know, I am going with Lomachenko to win this fight on points. And I believe he will win this fight on points. I believe he is going to probably have to come through tough times in this fight. I believe that Lomachenko might even go down at some point in this fight, but I'm backing Lomachenko to win this fight pretty clearly, pretty handily on points. I think it might be a split decision in his favor. You know, but I'm definitely backing Lomachenko to outbox, outskill, and outthink Teofimo Lopez, because I tend to think that in terms of levels and experience, I think Lomachenko is at least a level above Teofimo Lopez, and I think experience-wise it's like night and day. They've had the same amount of fights, but Lomachenko has been at the top for, you know, a long time now. He's been fighting at top level. He's got the experience that Teofimo Lopez does not have, and he's got all the tools. People have said they've seen slippage in Lomachenko, but I don't think, you know, there might be a slight bit of slippage, but at the end of the day, he's still, you know, at the peak of his powers at 32 years old. You know, Lopez is 9 years younger. I think Lopez has a chance of causing what would be a slight upset here, but I think Lomachenko's just got too much experience, and he'll be just that bit, you know, that bit too good for Lopez. And I'm picking Lomachenko to win this fight on points, most probably a split decision, maybe a unanimous decision, and I think he's going to have to walk through fire to win this fight. But I believe, based on what I've seen, based on what we know from his career, he's going to come out on top in this fight. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thanks for being with me, and until next time, this is MKO Pugilism, over and out, and I'll see you on the next one.